Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Absolute Value Inequalities. Um, we need to make sure that you have the following things ready to go because we're going to be doing everything on Desmos. So you can see I've already got Desmos up. I've got my Absolute Value Inequalities assignment from Delta Math up. And then from the last video, I gave you a chart, okay, and I put it in Canvas as a PDF of interval notation. And you're going to want that chart to reference because you might see in the video that I'll look a different direction. Well, if I'm looking at the camera, I'm actually not looking at the camera. I'm looking at my chart of my interval notation, okay? All right, so now, I'll be honest, I am not a big fan of what I consider to be cheating on a calculator, okay? Because I feel like that's what this is. I'm showing you actually how to not do any work, paper, pencil, and get the problem right, okay? But this is a really great topic to do that with because I find that students struggle with it. So this is a good time to really look at graphs and how do you read the answer from your graph, okay? All right, so let's jump right in. It says solve the following inequality algebraically. Now, honestly, what Delta Math is asking us to do is we get out a piece of paper. Algebraically is paper, pencil. If it had said solve the following inequality graphically, okay, that's where, yes, graph it and then provide the final answer. So we're just going to do it all through the calculator. All right, so let's go over here. We're going to type it in. So bring up the keyboard, get that absolute value sign, and we're going to do x plus 7, then absolute value, and then I need a less than symbol's right there on the keyboard, and then 5. Okay. All right. So now, if you can hear my dogs barking, I am so sorry. Let me close this door. Sorry about that. Okay. So I've got it here. Now you may be looking at it going, I really don't notice what's going on here. Okay. You're going to need to zoom out and you want to start looking for an indication of your picture. And you might zoom out really far, but don't zoom out too far. Okay. And then remember, you can click and drag, okay, to bring it onto the screen. Okay, so I have this answer or this picture. What do I do with it? Okay, all right, so notice here you've got a dotted line. Okay, you've got a dotted line. So what I want you to do is that in your mind, you want to think of dotted lines. You look over here at your chart, or if you have it printed. Okay, a dotted line on Desmos is your less than sign, okay, or your greater than sign. Or if I was just on a number line, if I was just on a number line, that would be my open circle, okay? All right, so what I have here is I would have an open circle. So now if I were to bring up my pen, okay, and I can't draw on my Desmo screen because I'm recording on this. Don't worry, it's just how things record, okay? But think of it this way, okay? I have an open circle, then I have this shading in between. And then here I have a dotted line, so I have an open circle. Okay, so that's how I take this picture and convert it to a number line. And then here, okay, if that's negative 15, that's negative 10. So negative 11, negative 12. Negative 12. Okay, and then here, 0, negative 1, negative 2. Negative 2. I'm trying to not switch between a bunch of screens. Okay. So that, okay, and when it's a number line and you've shaded in between, that's an and statement, okay? So that means I'm going to write negative 12. Open circle is less than x less than again negative 2. Okay? Let me erase that. Okay? All right. So do you see how I pulled that information from Desmos I converted it to a number line, and then I converted that number line to my final answer. Okay? All right, let me submit my answer. Yes, there you go. Okay? It says check the inequality by plugging in. Okay? So what it is, okay, is they're showing you that you can show where you have your false, your true, and your false. So if I take negative 16, Delta Math is going to show you the work and show you why it's false. If I plug in negative 7, which is in between, that's true. Okay, when you do the work, 0 is less than 5. And then if I pick 9, where it's false, notice here they're doing the work showing you 16 is not less than 5. Okay, so that's why your answer has to be in between negative 12 and negative 2. And you can't use negative 12. Okay, if you put negative 12 right here, it's going to be false because that's an open circle. Same thing if you put negative 2 and you plug it in, you're going to get false, okay, because that is an open circle as well. Okay, so it's a really nice feature that Delta Math has added. Okay, all right, let's try another one. Okay, and we're going to go to greater than. All right, so the absolute value of x minus 8 is greater than 4. So let's go over here. We're just going to type it in. So the absolute value of x minus 8, absolute value greater than 4. Okay. All right. So let's zoom out so we can find it. There we go. All right. Let me zoom back in so I can see. Okay. So now this is shading outward. Okay, so if we think about the last problem, it was shading in between. So that was an and. Okay, let me face the camera. So I've got shading in between my hands. That's an and. Now, when I've got my hands here and I shade outward, that's an or every single time. So I know that this is going to be an or statement. So I'm going to be using or in my answer. Okay, so now I just have to determine where this is. So this is negative 6, okay? And if I'm going that way, I'm less than. And I've got a dotted line, so that means it's just less than. It's not less than or equal to. So I have x less than 6. No, sorry, not 6. Oops, read that wrong. 4. Okay, I was thinking negative numbers. Okay, or then I have 10, 11, 12. Okay, and because I'm shading that way, I'm greater than. So x greater than 12. Okay, so x is less than 4 and x is greater than 12. Okay, all right, I'm going to click submit. There we go. And then again, you can see where you can check true, false, and true. Okay, all right, new problem. All right, let's do, yes, less than or equal to. All right, so the absolute value of x minus 1 is less than or equal to 14. All right, so absolute value of x minus 1 and then less than or equal to 14. Okay, all right, let's hide the keyboard. All right, let's go outward. There we go. Okay, now let's go in. All right. Now, that's going to be the hard part is making sure where these are crossing, okay? And it might be, and see, we can't click on it, okay? But we're going to do the best we can, okay? And I can show you how to do this by hand if you're not sure about how to figure out these values here on Desmos. Okay. All right. So first off, I'm shading in between. So that's going to be an and statement. I know I'm shading in between this value here on the left, this value here on the right. Okay. I have solid lines. So that means I know I'm going to be using the less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Well, if it's in between, you're going to write it as you could write it as an interval where you start at that one number on the left and you end at the other number on the right. So let's just go right here and say negative 11.5. Okay, so negative 11.5. We're always going to use less than, and since it was a solid line, less than or equal to, because this is how you write an and. Then we're going to put x in the middle, less than or equal to again, because I have a solid line right here. Okay, and this is 1112.5. Okay, all right, now let's look at Desmos and see if we can get a better approximation of this value. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so see how it was negative 13. Okay, so negative 13. Okay, now I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, and then I'm going to zoom back in. Okay, and I got 15. Okay, that way, if for some reason, like if you notice, I didn't count right. Okay, I should have counted by twos. Should have counted by twos, and I didn't. But I didn't want to zoom in right away, so I couldn't see that entire picture. Because see now, when I zoom back out, I drag it over here. See how I can see the whole picture. And see, yeah, I should have counted by twos because it was 10 and then it went to 20. Okay. But I didn't want to zoom in and lose this side to set up my initial answer. Okay. And that's just, I'm dealing with my screen. I'm dealing with limitations that I'm trying to make sure you see what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Submit my answer. Okay. Yes. Okay. So Delta Math is not happy with me. I don't know. Okay, well, we're just going to switch to another problem because I promise you it's correct. Okay? All right? Greater than or equal to. Let's see if it'll switch for me. No. It's quite unhappy. Okay. Problem types. Let's make sure we've got greater than or equal to. Okay. All right, so here we go. Absolute value of x minus 6 greater than or equal to 10. Click off of that. So I'm going to go here. Absolute value x minus 6. Absolute value greater than or equal to 10. Okay. All right. So I've got another or because I'm shading outward. Okay. So now I know that I'm going to use the word or. Okay. Now I just got to determine, this is where I got to zoom in, and I'm going to lose that picture, but it's okay. I'll zoom back out. Okay. I'm going to zoom in. So negative 4. So that means x, okay, is less than or equal to, because it's a solid line and I'm shading to the left, negative 4. Okay. Or, so I've shaded outward, so let's drag it over here. There we go. X is greater than or equal to, because again, I got a solid line, 16. Submit my answer. Yes, got my green check. Okay. All right. So that is absolute value equations level 1. Now, level 2 and level 3 don't get much harder. The equations actually just start to expand and get different. But since we're on Desmos, honestly, if you can do level 1, I promise you can do level 2 and level 3. Okay. But if you've got any questions, let me know. I'll post an old video that I recorded last year about how to do these by hand. So if you're really questioning, you're like, what if I don't have Desmos? How would I do these problems? I'll post an old video on how to do that. Okay. But the nice thing is that on your EOC, you have Desmos. Okay. So that's why I teach it this way. All right. Good luck, you guys.